G'day everyone and welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'm Nat and this is my Knackers Yard, and this is Rat Boy, who is causing me all sorts of dramas at the moment. I did a bit of investigating last night, a tiny little bit of filming for it, and I'll jump into that right now. Right, so we're in the kitchen. I've got my starter solenoid or starter relay out of the bike. As you can see, two main connections and a pair of blade connections at the bottom. Now, depending on how many of those you got, it generally means there's conditions that need to be satisfied for the starter to function and to effectively take your battery power and pass it through to your starter motor. If there's just one pair, it's just your starter switch. More is other stuff. So in this case, it's the side stand switch that is bypassed on this bike. So it's not really an issue. Now, the first test, I'm not going to go into a full functionality test because this one particular one fails at the first hurdle. When you attach it to the battery and put 12 volts through it, you should get an audible click, which essentially means that this electromagnet inside has been connected. And therefore electromagnetic switch. So if I connect, I get nothing. So I've got my multimeter out. I could check, the ohms between each of the blades, etc., etc. But if I'm not getting a connection at all, it kind of says that starter solenoid is napped. Now, just to confirm, set my multimeter up on volts. Always worth just double checking yourself. There you go, 12.8. So the battery's fine. The battery is kicking out charge. The battery is kicking out charge to the solenoids themselves. You can still see it's kicking up at 12 point something. So there's charge going into that, but it's going nowhere through it. So when I'm doing that, obviously I'm completing the circuit from wire to wire through this. What it's not doing is chucking out anywhere else. So I think that is one buggered starter solenoid. Right then, so played with the starter solenoid, trying to get this tank prep for hopefully painting tomorrow, although I might have to find some cover. How are we? I think we're pretty good. My filling work has got better. It's still got a long way to go though. So I don't really know until I chuck some primer on it as to how bad it's going to look. Reasonably content with that. The edges are now a lot cleaner. It's still a bit wavy, but frankly, it's going to get a tank pad on it anyway, so I can conceal some stuff under there. This bit is looking a lot better, but you can see a dip. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's considerably better than it was, so I'm happy-ish. I think I'm just pushing too hard and not using a big flat enough surface, and I'm pushing in. I think what I might do, I've got a dip around the edge. Now, I would normally just go, nah, sod it, chuck some paint on it. A bit of pattern to clear that up, but I don't want a pattern on this one. I might just mix up another bit of filler and chuck some on, just leave it overnight. Just on that, because it's a bit, I've got a dip. And it's also, in the eyeliner, in fact you can see the dip there. Other bits, the smaller little dents have just filled in quite nicely, I think, but again, I'm really going to be able to tell when I get the primer coat on it better. That was a new one. Whoops, that was a new one. It wasn't until I brought it into the kitchen under decent light and at a higher angle to have a look. That was a new one that I found. That was the one that I had before. You can hear that I need to put some more filler. I need to do a bit more filler. You can hear my finger hitting a dip there. Some of that will come out with filler primer, but not much. This is a damn sight better. Sorry, that's a new one as well. I'd filled that, but I hadn't noticed the 3 or 4 dots down here. Again, filler primer will cover a lot of that, but I might just chuck a tiny bit more on just in case. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to get mixing. Yeah, I'm going to get mixing and chuck a little bit more on and leave it overnight. Back to the garage. And not to the garage, to the garden. A very wet garden and a very damp dog. So what we've got here is the tank with its filler primer on it. And actually, it's really not too bad. There's a couple of bits in it. I'm really quite impressed with how this has turned out, which was quite a big repair. A little bit of keck floating on it, but that's what you get for being a garage mechanic. I'm going to let that cure off and give it a quick rub down before I start chucking some yellow on it. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but as is the spirit of everything I do, it's considerably better than it once was. Happy days. Right, there we go. That's 1 coat of yellow can brush, and that is a dust coat. It's nice and light. It's on a yellow background, so it looks quite solid immediately. Yeah, I'm going to do at least that can. Possibly, I've got half another one, and I've got another full can on the side as well. So I'm just going to lather this bad boy. I can't talk highly enough of this stuff. I've checked its petrol resistance. It's really good. I'm tempted not to 2K it, but I do have 2K, so I am going to do it. It's bit of belt and braces really, but I can't sing the praises of that stuff high enough. It just sprays beautifully. I am a big fan of like Halford's own cheap products, and because they're entirely fine. But if you want to get a really good spray paint, go for this stuff. It's not that expensive either if you shop around, and by shop around I'm talking eBay more than anything else. You find some people charging £3 and some people charging 13, so just pick your deal. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to film very much, certainly not on dust coats anyway, but I'm just going to bang on a load of dust coats before I get too tempted to go too solid, because that is how you get runs. So as many dust coats as your sanity will take. Cheers. Right, so a few more coats and a slight change in direction. We're also going to be now doing paint recovery or paint stripping again, because my stand fell over as I was spraying. Arse. Okay, so as irritating as it is, and I've got over my arseache ever so slightly, you know, what happened that? Stupid idea and following a stupid idea. I tried to put it on my normal stand, put it flat, wouldn't work because this has a flat base, so I decided to hang it, which would have been fine if I was going lighter on the paint, because obviously when you got it vertically the paint wants to go with gravity, which it did, and as I was trying to flatten it off, the whole thing just collapsed on me and caught me. So I'm not going to touch it too much because it is still tacky. So what, that's me with that for the day, because that ain't doing anything. That needs to dry off. I don't think I'm going to take it down to the bare metal. I'm just going to give it a damn good rub down and then carry on again. Potentially reprime, depends how deep I have to go on it. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's a pisser, but frankly it all boils down to not setting up correctly in the first place and just trying to crack on and then doing too heavy paint. So frankly, learn a lesson. Well, ideally learn it from me and don't do it yourself, but yeah, it also gives me an opportunity to have another dig at more dents that I've spotted that I hadn't spotted before. So yeah, really irritating, but frankly, if you're going to get annoyed about it, or too annoyed about it, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Yeah, got enough to be annoyed about, but I do have a bit of good news for the day. And some slightly good news. I've ordered a new starter relay for Ratboy for the pseudo transformer. I'm still thoroughly confused as to what the issue has been, but the resounding issue it's got at the moment is that that starter solenoid just doesn't, you know, there's no click when you introduce power to it. It's not doing what it should do. Now I think I've either blown it with my arsing around with a key set. There was something fundamentally hokey going on with it, which explains a lot of the wiring that's done before, but I've now returned to original wiring. Everything's wired exactly as it came out of the factory. Well, exactly. The end result is the same as it came out of the factory, not quite as pretty. But yeah, that's all fine. I've got the new ignition set in, and the new lock set in. That's all plumbed in. Had to take all that crap off again, do all of that, etc, etc. So I'm waiting on the starter relay, and that will be the teller as to whether or not everything is back on this bike. I'm praying it is, I'm hoping it is. There's a couple of other bits I want to do while I've got most of the stuff off the bike. I want to dig through some of the earths, and particularly that main earth as well. But that's not my success. The main success is the little scooter that I've been ignoring because I've been so involved in this one. For those that remember, because it was a while ago now, the issue that I had was the new lever set that I've got, the new black ones that look really good, although everything's really dusty in here at the moment. The front brake, obviously that's the rear one, but the front brake, the light wasn't working. I ordered a new set, they arrived, it didn't work. I ordered another set, they arrived and that didn't work either. That's now on the rear. That's now on the front. So I've now got that working. I need to do a tiny bit of tidying up on the switch itself, but essentially the switches they gave are just crap. I need to take them apart, work out how it worked, bend some bits back into the shape they should have come out of the factory, put it all back in, then shave some off the lever. It's just, well, I had the spare lever actually. Shave some off the lever because, let's see if you can spot, effectively, and that was my first attempt because I've got two of these, but that was the first attempt. There was a whole mess of extra weld across there, which meant it just couldn't disengage the switch. So the switch was knackered, and the mechanism to take the pressure off that switch was also knackered. But that now works. So you're just going to bang it on charge, leave it. I've sorted out the indicators. I say sorted out, they've just been taped on. There's no point chucking more money at this little project. Charging up the battery. In fact, it hasn't started. All wrong, it hasn't started. I haven't started it for about 3 weeks now. Let's get it off the side stand and give it a go, shall we? Right, so that's you really perched up there, I suppose. Power on. Let's see. Bearing in mind I haven't even tried that for about 3 weeks now. I'm happy with that. Yeah, well happy with that. Doing that pretty gingerly because I haven't got enough room here to put it on its centre stand. I mean, that's a fab little bike. I still need to put the little foot plates on. And in fact, I may even do that now or today because it's not really as if I can do a great deal of other stuff. While I'm pending bits, I'm still going to leave that on charge because, like I say, it's just been sat gathering dust and lots of it at the back of the garage for a little while. So, yeah, happy with that. Time to just let the paint cure on that tank before I work out what to do with it. Yeah, big mistake. As long as I learn from it, I don't get annoyed by mistakes. I get annoyed by repeating them. Thanks very much all. That'll do me. Bit of a disappointing one. I wanted to do a lot of tank sorting today. I'm just not going to get that done because of the cock up. But see if I can get back on track, and I'll film bits and pieces as I'm trying to recover a cock up. Cheers all. I'll catch you later on.